Hello. I was in a world of my own. Trying to plug my phone in. Good morning, everyone. Well, I was like, oh, I'm on. Hello. Good morning, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. How are we all? Welcome to Fri-Weigh weight loss chat. Yes, Fri-Weigh weight loss chat. What we're doing in this one, we are talking just general nattering, aren't we? What are we doing? Oh, Fri-Weigh. Yeah, why is it Fri-Weigh? That was what I was going to explain. Fri-Weigh is the day my clients check in. Hence why we call it Fri-Weigh. So there we go. I'm a little bit late this morning, actually. I've just been to the gym this morning. We're doing a few bits and pieces and then just head down, working my way through check-ins. And we're here now. Anyway, how are we all? Have we all had a good Thursday to Friday? If you only follow me on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, I've not seen you since yesterday morning. So it was the last 24 hours been. If you are in my community or on Planet, I will have seen some of you at 5 p.m. last night when we did our weight loss coaching live. Jacqueline on YouTube, good morning. Right, so we're doing a top 5 on the old TikToks. Yes, why the hell not? Right, let's see who's in on TikTok. Number 1 is Callum. Number 2 is Donna. Number 3, Songbirdy1. Number 4 is Faye. And number 5 is James. Good morning, guys. Thank you very much for coming straight on the live. As always, coming and saying hello. How is your weight loss week? It is Friday. The business end. That's what we're coming to now. We're coming to the business end of the week. So how have you done so far? Where are you at? Have you nailed it? You struggled a little bit? Let me know. I'll see if I can help. As always, as well, guys, this is a weight loss life. If you've got any weight loss questions, get those questions in. This week, I've done decent. I'm going to say that. I think I've done pretty damn decent. Now, I had a bit of a higher calorie day yesterday. I was struggling just slightly with controlling the old hunger demons yesterday. And we ended up having a KFC for tea last night, which was a calorie-controlled KFC. I literally had a twister, right, half a portion of chips and a mini fillet, but it was still 200 calories more. It was 850 calories to that. And I was planning on having 650 for my tea last night. So, but the other 3 days was very, very good. There's like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, very, very good. So I still banked about 2,000 for the weekend, plus whatever I managed to bank today. We've got nothing going on this weekend. So yeah, all in all, I say nothing going on this weekend. We're going to the Trafford Centre shopping tomorrow, and we are going to get some food out. I am going to get a Ben's cookie. So, a few more calories are going to be consumed tomorrow, but that's why we bank calories, because it gives us some flexibility, some freedom, and it allows us to enjoy going to somewhere like the Trafford Centre, having a bit of lunch out. There's a new Chinese restaurant in the Trafford Centre that I really want to try. So I think we're going to go for that. If that's what my niece fancies, and she's got the choice tomorrow. She can decide where we want to eat, but I'm going to try and persuade her to head towards this Chinese. She does like Chinese, so hopefully that is where we're going to end up. Other than that, very boring weekend, and that is exactly what I want. I've got 4 weeks tomorrow. We are off to Benidorm, so I've got 4 weekends, and I want 4 very boring, quiet weekends. 4 very boring, quiet weeks, really, until we venture on holiday. Anyway, there we go. Right, Jacqueline's had a great week. Weighed in this morning, lost 1 pound after 2 weeks of maintaining. I'm happy with that. Drinking more water and managed a few extra steps some days this week. Awesome. It's good if we can look back on our journey and see things that aren't quite running 100%, and if we can then just improve on those things. And it's one of the main reasons why I do my weekly weight loss vlogs. It's for my own accountability. It allows me to go back through the week, talk about the week, look at my eating, look at my movement, my steps, exercise that I've done, and it just allows me to sort of analyse and see ways that I can improve. Last week my calories run away with me, but I wasn't too upset with that because it was circumstances, because I had a bit of a weekend with the boys and a few beers and this, that, and the other, so it can happen. If my calories had run away like they did last weekend, but I didn't have a reasonable excuse for it, I'd have been like, right, what's going on? Let's delve in, I've lost 3 stone 4 pounds in 5 months on my journey. So I mean that is really good weight loss, Jamie. It's quick weight loss. I don't know what your start weight was, and this is why I never want people to think I'm pissing on their chips. I'm not, right? So I might get people that come onto my lives and they go, I've lost this much in this much, and I'm like, fantastic, but one of the big reasons why we fall off the wagon of a weight loss journey is over restriction. We go at things too hard, like a bull in a china shop, and we end up sort of basically crash dieting for a good few months, and we might lose tremendous amounts of weight. And at the time, it might seem absolutely fantastic. I've lost 5 stone in 5 months, and this, that, and the other. But the harder we go into a diet, the more chance there is, or the sooner we're going to fall off the wagon. And also, the harder we go into a diet, the more chance of regression. This is what we've done for years. I did the live on it last night, the restrict and binge diet, restrict and binge cycle. Over restriction then leads to binging. And it might not be a short-term thing. It could be a long-term thing. You might over restrict yourself for 4 months, lose a lot of weight. But if that then triggers a lot of overeating for the next 6 to 8 months, what's the point? Because you're going to lose weight, yeah, but then you're going to gain it all back. And in most circumstances, more. Now, Jamie there has lost 3 stone 4 pounds in 5 months. Now, if Jamie comes to me and goes, I was 25 stone when I started, or 22 stone or something like that, or Jamie comes to me and goes, I was 19 stone, but I do 15,000 steps a day, and this and that. That's not too bad. And to be honest with you, 3 stone 4 pounds in 5 months isn't ridiculous. You know, I recommend losing £1 a week on average, right? 5 months is 20 weeks. So really, for most people, we're looking at 20. Maybe if you're really on it, 25 pounds, right? Now, Jamie's lost there 46 pounds. That is quite restrictive, you know. But, you know, if Jamie comes to me and goes, well, no, I'm 25 stone. I've been eating 2,200 calories a day. I've just been very, very consistent. I've never had a weight loss break. I've been really working on my movement. Like, all good. I'm not saying that 3 stone 4 pounds for certain people isn't. But I don't want people to crash and burn. I don't want people to hit a brick wall. Yes, I want them to lose weight. But why I always like to say, piss on people's chips at times is just to calm them down a little bit. Because like I say, too many times we go, I lost 5 stone doing the Cambridge plan, right? And what did you weigh when you started the Cambridge plan? 17 stone. And you got down to 12 stone in 5 months. Yeah. What do you weigh now? 19 and a half. Right, because the diet was so hard, you hit that brick wall, bang, and the harder you hit the brick wall, the more you regress. So Jamie started at 18 stone 9, did the carnivore diet for a little bit, gym 5 times a week, and in a calorie deficit. Well, you have to have been in a calorie deficit to lose body fat. There we go. So Jamie's just highlighted it for me. He's 18 stone 9. He's lost 3 stone 4 pounds in 5 months, and he's done the carnivore diet. And he said he's done it for a little bit. There's a reason why we only do it for a little bit, because it's too restrictive. It's not sustainable. Jamie, I just hope you've, you know, and I'm not saying it's fantastic weight loss. And at the time it seems amazing, but it's absolutely pointless losing large chunks of weight in short periods of time if you're just going to gain it all back, is all I'm trying to say. And I don't want that. I want Jamie to lose his 3 stone 4 pounds and a bit more on top of that, healthily, sustainably. And I want Jamie to come on this live in 12 months' time and go, I'm still maintaining my losses, Neil. I'm still maintaining my losses, Neil. I've not regressed. The way I've lost weight, I've changed my lifestyle. I've changed everything. I've done it all for the better. You know, I go to the gym 5 times a week, but it's fully sustainable. I go before work. I go one day after work. I go on a Saturday morning. If we do anything that's not sustainable, it's not going to stick into place. You know, going to the gym 5 times a week, it's fantastic, right? Great for mental health, great for physical health. Indirectly will be superb for our weight loss journey. But if you're not going to keep up with it, there's no point doing it. You're better off going to the gym twice a week for the rest of your life than you are going to the gym 5 times a week for 3-4 months and then not going again for 9 months, then going again for 3 and then not going again for 9 months. Does that kind of make sense? Right, let me go up and see who else is in and say some more good mornings. The Wise Solar Eat Boss, good morning. Angela, back on the wagon from Sunday after around 9 months off. Summer clothes are tight. Sometimes we need little things like that. Sometimes we need like, you know, we're getting in the wardrobe for summer. It's like, this used to fit me last year. And sometimes it's just a bit of a wake-up call, you know. Callum, good luck and well done to everyone who's checked in today. Brilliant, Callum. Good morning, mate. Been there, done that. Absolute Maureen. I think a lot of us have in some ways. I've upped my Cal, still in a deficit, but I've gained 2.5 pounds. Can you explain why, please? Yes, because confessions of a diet freak. When you up your cal, and this is where a lot of people panic. It's where a lot of people panic when people are eating a certain amount of calories, right? And then they might get to their goal and they move to maintenance calories. And in the first week, they move to maintenance calories and they gain 2.5 pounds. So, confessions of a diet freak, you've gained 2.5 pounds in weight. You're not gained 2.5 pounds in fat. How do we know that? Because you've said I'm still in a calorie deficit. You can't physically gain body fat in a calorie deficit. And not all weight gain is fat gain. And not all weight gain is a negative thing. We've got to stop being so black and white. I've gained weight. What's going on? I've lost weight. Woo! You know, and don't get me wrong. I know what's going to happen when we lose weight, but you might weigh yourself weekly, and 1 week you'll drop 5 pounds in a week. You need to question that a little bit because it is what we call a false negative, a false positive, right? You've not lost 5 pounds of body fat in a week because to lose 5 of those in a week, you have to be in a 17,500 calorie deficit. Some people don't even burn enough calories to be in a 17. If they ate absolutely nothing, you'd have to burn 17,500 calories to start off with and eat absolutely nothing to lose 5 of those. You've lost 5 pounds in weight. Now, if you have a big drop on the scales, you might just caught the scales at the right time. And it's very, very common, especially mid-plan, if you see a big drop on the scales mid-plan, right, and it's a bit like a mini whoosh, that the next time you get on the scales, you'll see a maintain. You might even see a gain. So it's very, very common. If we get a false positive, we will then get kind of like a more realistic way, a balance of the force, as it were. Like the market needs to stabilize or readjust. You know, you get it with the stock market. You'll see sort of big boom on the stock market, and it's like it's a false economy. And then suddenly it needs a little reset to bring things back down to it. And that's kind of what can happen. Anyway, basically, you've been in a calorie deficit, but you've upped your calories. So by upping your calories, you will have eaten more food, you will have taken on more fluids, and that will have just increased your average weight, right? We always have a certain amount of water weight running through our system, a certain amount of food weight running through our system. We have a certain amount of water retention in our system. And if we increase our calorie intake, it is going to bump each one of those up. Right, so from eating a few more calories, you've just increased your average food weight, water retention. It could be a little bit of each. It could just be food weight. We don't need to look into it too much. You've just increased your average weight. There you go. The first time you weigh after increasing your calories, you're going to see a gain, right? Because you're going to increase your averages within your body. After that, things will settle down and then you'll be back to losses. Yeah? Does that make sense? Right, let's get up. So I've increased too much then. No. Listen to what I'm saying. You've increased your average food weight. You've increased, it's just a natural response from the body, right? If I eat 2,000 calories a day, I am taking on a certain volume of food, and that will on average sit in my system. Some days I'll be more, some days I'll be less, but that's an average. When you increase your calories, you are just naturally going to be eating more food because you're eating more calories. You're not gaining fat. Basically, between my stomach and my bum, right, I have got a certain amount of digested food, and waste matter from digested food. And that is generally an average in my system, right? And when I eat something, that might increase my weight. When I go to the toilet for a number 2, that might decrease my food weight. But we always sit with an average. You've always got food running through your system. Someone that eats 1,500 calories a day and someone that eats 2,000 calories a day generally is going to have a higher average in their body. It's just a natural response. You've not increased by too much. You've not gained fat. You've just increased, you've just got a bit more food sat in your system because you're eating a bit more food. That is it, right? And that will show generally the first time you weigh after increasing it. It's not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing. It is a natural response from the body, right? If you have a backpack and you have 4 tins of beans in your backpack, right, your backpack will weigh a certain amount. If you then decide to add an extra tin of beans into your backpack for whatever reason, when you first weigh your backpack, it will weigh a certain amount. And then if you don't add any more beans to it, it will stay the same. Yeah, that is your average food weight. Remember, calories in, calories out just changes your body fat, right? But on the scales, our water weight, our food weight, our water retention, and our loss and gain of body fat fluctuate the scales. You've done nothing wrong. You've not increased by too much. Now, if you increase your calories, let's say you're in a 1,500 calorie day. Look, at the end of the day, if anyone's sat there questioning their calories, jump onto my community. It's £5 for your first month. I'll give you a full calorie breakdown. And in your calorie breakdown is your calorie maintenance. So you'll know exactly what your calorie maintenance is. You can only gain body fat if you eat above your calorie maintenance. So if you eat 250 calories below your calorie maintenance, or 500, you're in a calorie deficit. That might mean more food than, someone sat there now might be eating 1,200 calories a day, right? Which is very, very restrictive. And I work out your calories and I'm like, you burn 2,700 calories a day. You should be eating at least 2,000 calories a day. So we're going to get you off this nonsense of eating 1,200 calories a day. We're going to put you on to 2,000 calories a day. And that's what you start eating. You're going to gain food weight, water retention from that because you're consuming an extra 5,000 calories in a week, right? And your average food weight, water retention is going to increase. That is going to show on the scales the first week or two. Then it'll level out. And then when you get back to, when you know what your new sort of average weight is, we'll just get back to fat loss. Yeah. You've just got to stay consistent. Yeah. Right. Let me scan down. Oh, I get it. Okay. It's the body's homeostasis adjusting itself to its new normal. Yeah. Kind of, if that's how you want to put it. Yeah, absolutely. So, anyone that's sat there now eating 1,500 calories a day, you will have an average water weight, food weight, and water retention in your body. If you eat more than that consistently, those averages are going to increase. It doesn't mean you're getting fatter. It doesn't mean you're getting it's just averages. Nothing to do with fat loss, right, or fat gain. Nothing to do with it. It's just averages within the body normalizing up to a new average because you're eating a little bit more food. Likewise, if someone's eating 2,500. I eat 2,500 calories a day, 2,600 calories a day on average. If my check-in's a week today, if over those 2 weeks, so if I check in a week today and I weigh this much, and I then decide I'm not going to eat 2,600 over the next 2 weeks till my next check-in, I'm going to eat 1,800. I'm reducing my calories by 800 a day. Over a week, that's 5,600 calories. Over 2 weeks, because I weigh fortnightly, that means I'm going to consume 11,000 calories less food. Bigger calorie deficit, but also the amount of food that I eat is going to massively reduce. So my averages in my body are going to drop. So if I reduce the amount of calories I eat, my averages, and this is where we get what's called the whoosh effect. This is why you get a bigger loss at the start of your weight loss journey. We're overweight. We've been eating too much food. Now we're going into a calorie deficit to lose body fat, but we're also reducing the volume of food we're eating. We're also probably going to be improving our overall diet. And like I say, this will reduce average water weight, average food weight, and average water retention in the body. And that's why the first couple of weeks of a weight loss journey, you get what's called a whoosh, where you're not just losing body fat, you're losing average food weight, water retention. So you get a bigger loss for the first couple of weeks. Once those bigger losses have gone and you're being consistent, we'll then just start to see more fat loss on the scales. You're always going to be susceptible to daily fluctuations of water weight, food weight, and water retention. But over time, it's going to be more fat loss. Yeah? But again, loads of people. Right, I'm at my goal weight. I'm going to go into a calorie maintenance. First week of eating in a calorie maintenance, I've gained 2 pounds, right? Back into a calorie deficit. You're just eating more food, right? Your average food weight, water retention is just increasing a little bit. Stop panicking, right? I always say this: if you've got a goal weight, let's say your goal weight is 160 pounds, right? That is where you roughly want to sit. Now, when we get to our goal weight, you don't just sit at 160. Your weight will fluctuate all the time, right? And I always recommend like a 5% swing, really. Generally, it can be that big. So if your goal weight is 160 pounds, sometimes it might fluctuate up to 168. Sometimes it might fluctuate. It might go down to 152. If it starts creeping any bigger than that, something's going on. You're being calorie deficit, calorie surplus, this, that, and the other. But we should always allow like little fluctuations. But if your goal weight is 160 pounds, for instance, I would recommend dieting down to about 155. And then when you move into your but with the thing is, when I go to 155 and then I move into maintenance calories where I'm eating an extra 3,500 calories a week, right? My average water weight, food weight, water retention is going to increase, and then I'll settle around 160, something like that. Does that make sense? Think of a lot of water weight dropped off me during the 4 weeks of carnivore. It will do, Jamie, because if you do the carnivore diet, you don't eat carbohydrates, which means you've got no glycogen in your body and any glycogen stores that you had in your body. So glycogen is the storage of energy from carbohydrates. So when we eat carbohydrates, our blood sugar, when we eat anything, our blood sugars go up. But when we eat carbohydrates, our blood sugars go up the most, right? We then release insulin from our pancreas to take those blood sugars to store them in our cells. So they get stored in our brain, they get stored in our liver, and they get stored in our skeletal muscle to be used as energy. That energy is called glycogen. So the transportation of glucose into cell storage for energy, the energy stored in the cells is called glycogen. 1 gram of glycogen holds 4 grams of water. You eat no carbs, any glycogen stores that you have in your brain, in your liver, and in your skeletal muscle will leave the body, right? And you will flush out a lot of water retention. Losing water retention is still weight loss, but it creates, again, a false positive. So people are like, I've done ketogenic diet, I've done the carnivore diet, I lost a stone in 2 weeks. You've lost a stone in water weight. As soon as you start eating carbs again, you'll replace the glycogen in your system. 1 gram of glycogen holds 4 grams of water, and you're going to see your average weight increase. Yeah. I had to lose weight because I was put on blood pressure tablets. So I had to change my lifestyle, and that's the way I am now. Yeah, absolutely, Jay. And look, I never want people, like I say, I'm not criticizing people as in, all I want to, it's great you've lost weight. I just, like I say, I want you to lose weight and keep it off, right? And a short-term lifestyle change should be a long-term lifestyle change. Whatever you're doing now to lose weight, you should be happy to do in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years. Because that's what a lifestyle change is. A lifestyle change isn't, I've done this for the last 10 years and I'm changing to this, but I'm only going to be able to stick to it for 6 months and then I'm going to go back to what I did for last. That isn't a lifestyle change. That's going to an extreme, right? And we can only be confident and say we've had this lifestyle change, like I say, 12. But if you're doing, if you started a weight loss journey 2 years ago and you're still doing today what you did 2 years ago, you've had a lifestyle change. You're changing. You've changed what you've done. When I started my weight loss journey in 2014, I started walking more. I started prioritizing steps. I still do that 11 years on. When I started my weight loss journey 11 years ago, I started looking at calories and sticking to a certain amount of calories and also working towards a calorie structure. So going, breakfast, roughly 400-500 calories, lunch, roughly 500-600 calories, tea, roughly 700. I do exactly the same now. What I did 11 years, yes, I've developed it and, using a calorie counting app now, which I didn't do 11 years ago. Thank you very much for the gift. Very kind of you. I like those shades. Very nice. The things I was doing, the things I was doing 11 years ago, like being more responsible with my calories, sticking to a calorie structure, prioritizing steps, started doing some regular exercise, increasing the amount of protein in my diet. I'm doing it now. I've done it pretty much consistently for the last 11 years. That is a lifestyle change. You know, I've been on this planet 44 years. 25% of those years, 11 years, I've done it this way. 75%, I've done it the other way. In another 11 years' time, if I keep up with what I'm doing, and I'm fully confident I will do, it'll have been, 3/5 doing it this way, 2/5 doing it this way. If I do it in another 11 years, 50-50, I've spent half my life as a morbidly obese person, and I've now spent half my life, and the percentages will just get better and better and better the further we go along. Does that make sense? What are your top 3 Perform protein powder flavors? Raspberry white chocolate, jammy biscuit, jammy biscuit, and I'm going to say raspberry white choc and jammy biscuit I don't think will ever change. They are absolutely superb. I'm going to say, just if you fancy something a bit more chocolatey, I'm not a massive fan of chocolate protein powders, but the Neapolitan ice cream one is really, really good. Very, very good. There's another one that I really like as well. There's a few. I've had loads. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. Want to be athletic and lean and healthier. Thank you for the kind words. Jamie, not a problem at all. And if you can do it for the rest of your life, crack on, mate. If you feel confident enough, crack on. Yeah? But just beware, if things do start to slip, then just be aware that you might need to make some changes. It might be a case of, I can't keep up with the gym 5 times a week. I could when my motivation was very, very high and I had a shock of having bad blood pressure and all this, that, and the other. Now things have settled down. I don't quite have as much outside pressure on me to do it. I'm easing off to 3. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Just keep up with it the best you can. Yeah. Decided to buy a tub of raspberry white. Yeah, raspberry white chalk's definitely up there. I've not bought any protein powders for ages. I was buying loads, and I'm just kind of working my way through what I've got. And in all honesty, I'm probably ready now. Actually, I might try a new flavour. I might try the cookie dough one. I have got the cookies and cream. Again, I've had a few varieties of cookie and cream protein powders. It just doesn't quite work as a flavour for me. I don't know. There's just certain flavours that just don't quite work. In terms of Perform, I don't think I've ever had a bad Perform flavour. I've got certain flavours that I prefer other than others, but I don't think I've ever really had a bad flavour, as it were. Right, let me scan down. I count calories. I find it easy. After a while, most of it's in my head without a calculator. 100%. This is the thing with counting calories. The longer you do it, the easier it gets. It's like another language at times, When you start learning to speak Spanish, well, if you ever wanted to learn another language, it's like, at the start, you struggle to remember saying thank you and please and this, that, and the other. But if you went and lived in Spain and you lived around Spanish people for ages, and you just automatically, you just pick up loads more. And that's the same with calorie counting. Whenever we do something new, it can always be a little bit trickier, a little bit overwhelming. But the more consistent we are and the more we do it, I've been tracking calories now for 9 years. So I've been on a weight loss journey 11 years. And I've been looking at calories for 11 years. But I actually first started using an app, which was MyFitnessPal, at the end of February 2016. January 2022, I switched to NutriCheck, and it's a much better app than MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal never did me any harm. It never did, I lost a considerable amount of weight in it. But, throughout my time, I've had a couple of Mondeos, and I've had a couple of Fiestas as cars. I've had some older cars, all done me fantastic, right? But, some of the newer cars I've had recently are some of the nicest cars I've driven. They do the same job, but certain things are just done better by other things, is what I'm trying to say. So I switched to NutriCheck. But from February 2016 to this present day, unless I've been on holiday or it's Christmas, I've tracked calories. I've done it for 9 years now, consistently. I would say at least 47 weeks of the year, right, I track my calories. And if you do that, and I don't think there'll be many people in the world that can say they've been as consistent as that for as long as I have. And tracking calories now is just second nature to me. I literally see food, obviously only foods that I eat on a regular basis because that's how we learn. But I reckon I could guesstimate within 10% any food. Any food, if you sort of came to me and went, right, well, how many calories is in, I don't know, 100 grams of cheddar cheese, like 450, right? Depending on what brand you're having or something like that, I guarantee I'm not a million miles away. And how many calories are in a tin of beans? 350, 360. Again, you're never going to, it depends what brand, Heinz, no added sugar is the lowest. Half a tin's about 140 odd calories. Aldi Bramwell is about the most calorific beans. Half a tin's 187. But I'm never going to be a million miles away. How many calories is in a slice of bread? 100. Thick slice of bread, 100. Some thick slice of bread are 110. Some thick slice of bread are classed as 95, but it's about 100 calories. How many calories is in an egg? Small egg, about 50. Medium egg, 60. Large egg, 70. I've calorie counted for that long. I just know, and you'd be amazed when you start looking at certain foods, they're all so similar. Most cereals, like most crisps per 100 grams are 500 calories. It doesn't matter if it's Walkers, it doesn't matter if it's Space Raiders, it doesn't matter if it's What's-It, doesn't matter if it's McCoy's, Kettle Chips, they're all about 500 calories for 100 grams, right? Chocolate's about the same. Most chocolate bars, 50 gram bar of chocolate is about 250 calories. 100 gram bar of chocolate is about 500 calories, right? And it doesn't really matter whether you're buying a Twix or a Mars bar. They're all much of a muchness, yeah? Fish without batter. What, like just a piece of white fish? 100 grams of white fish, about 100 calories. 100 grams of white fish is about 100 calories. Fish from a chippy, which would be around about 100, like a regular fish is only about 175 grams of fish, so that's like 160 calories, something like that. You've then got some butter and oil, about 400 calories, something like that. Yeah. I'm pretty good at calories. I've done it for a long time. So cookie dough was a bit disappointing. Not bad, but not much flavour. Yeah, I know. I'm a bit like that. I'll probably when I'm gonna order today all the stock for next month's Boss Your Protein boxes, and I'm going to order a few different samples. I remember I'm tempted to get a cherry bakewell because I'm really into my cherries at the moment, like getting the sweet dark cherries from Aldi. So I'm like, well, that might go well, but I'll only get a small tub of it. Right, let me scan up. Ryan, good morning, Neil. Good morning, Ryan. If I've missed anyone, please don't think I'm being rude. I'm not. Let me scan up. I'm waffling a lot myself this morning. Let me scan up. Is My Fitness Pal good app to use? It's just all right. Look, like I say, it never did me any harm. I lost a lot of weight using it. But when you then move to something better, you realise that there are a lot of things out there. But like I was saying about a car analogy, I used to work in advertising. I used to have a lot of workhorses, Mondeos, bombing up and down the motorway, only basic ones. Did me great at the time, loved them, And I remember getting my first, be about 2014, 2015, I bought my first Audi A4. And it was just like, wow, I get it. I understand why this costs this and this costs this. They're both the same car. 4 wheels, steering wheel, do the business, but there's just one car I'd rather drive. There was nothing wrong with me Mondeo, but so it's kind of works like that. Thank you all the way from Denmark. I want to go to Denmark. I keep looking. The flights to Copenhagen are so cheap, right? Obviously, the cost in Copenhagen is ridiculously expensive, but little weekend break, me and Ray, 2-3 nights. I really fancy it. It's somewhere different. I've never been. Is it classed as Denmark's classed as Scandinavia? It's Europe, isn't it? But it's classed. Oh, I know Scandinavia is classed as Europe, but I mean, anyway, I fancy going. I do fancy mooching there. Anyway, hello in Denmark. Right, let me refresh and see what's going on. Calories were fine yesterday. Screening finished. Oh yeah. I know you're a little bit worried, were you? Cal was trying to stay. Screening finished late, so I wasn't able to go out as had to get home. Oh, that's all right, Cal. We'll take that then, won't we? Going to send over checking in a bit. Been busy, not a problem at all, Kelly. I've been working my way. I was a bit late getting in the office today, actually, but we've been chipping away. Expensive in Denmark, but beautiful. Hubby and Merchant Navy. Yeah, I know it is expensive, but again, it's one of them, innit? If you're only going, I always think it doesn't really matter how expensive somewhere is if you're just going for 2 or 3 nights. In a way, like there's only so much you can do and so much you can spend. Like, you know, if you go in there for 2 weeks holiday, you're like, yeah, that's going to sting you a little bit. But yeah, if you're going for sort of 2 nights and you sort of compromise a little bit, right? Well, we'll go to a bakery for lunch and we'll do this, but we'll have a nice meal at night time. And it's not a holiday I go on where I'm on smash all the time. So I do fancy it though. I hope you have deep pockets. It's very expensive in Denmark, and I've been there, and it's lovely. Yeah, I know. And again, it just is what it is, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day, the UK's flipping expensive now, and I think that's what that's sort of where we've got to realize. You know, what we've got to realize when I go to Spain now, it makes you realize how expensive the UK is. The fact that the UK is so expensive, it does make you. It does make you realise, you know, or it makes it easier when you go to certain other places. It makes it great when you go to cheap places. Like, we went to Prague a couple of years ago, and everyone's like, oh, Prague's dead expensive now. It's just a proper tourist trap. It's paying £2 a pint. I'm like, yeah, but, and everyone's like, yeah, but it used to be 80p 5 years ago for a pint. It's now over doubling. I'm like, it's £2 a pint. My local pub is 200 yards down there, and it's £6 for a pint. So when I'm paying £2, it is cheap, you know. Morning, everyone. I'm a bit late today. We'll catch back up on YouTube later. Not a problem. So, yeah, I think there's a beauty of these dual streams. Like, it saves to Facebook and YouTube. So if you ever want to watch back, you can do. Denmark is nothing special. When I visit family, can't wait to return. Oh God, Lisa doesn't. Oh, you are of that descent, aren't you, Lisa? Very harsh, but I suppose that's like me going, the UK is nothing special. I always say that, and in all honesty, it's horrible to say it, and I'll tell you why. Because the UK, we never appreciate it for what it is, because you live here and it's just what you're used to. But you know, I think this weather we've had, it's not rained in Lancashire for about a month, just over a month. In fact, I was talking to my mate's a farmer, and they're obviously. They've just been silaging this week and then muck spreading and getting ready to, because he's like, yeah, there's a bit of rain. I was like, when was it last time it rained in like around here? And he was like, any decent rain, he said, was April. I was like, what? It's not rain for a month because they're really struggling, the farmers at the moment with it. So yeah, it makes you, and I said to Rachel, I said, there's nothing, in all honesty, there is nothing nicer than the UK when the weather's lovely. It's absolutely beautiful, green fields. It's just, but we never appreciate it for what it is, well, because we live here. UK is suddenly beautiful. We just don't see it. 100%, Anna. And I said that to her. I said, if the weather we've got now, if we've got this May, June, July, August, September, I'd holiday more in the UK. I genuinely would. What pees me off now is the UK is flipping expensive, and to then no, I can't go right. Let's go to Devon the end of June. Right, we're going to Benidorm the end of June. Weather will be amazing, right? I'm like, right, book Devon the end of June, and it could be like flipping the middle of October. You just can't and I know you maybe shouldn't think like that because you're missing out, but I do think like that because until I'm retired, my holidays are precious because I only go a couple. I've got 2-3 a year. Whereas when you're retired and you go to Devon in June and it's a bit rubbish, you're like, right, we've got a Tenerife next week. Obviously, money dependent. But the UK is stunning. It really, really is. Under £3 a pint in Oldham. James, I need to move to Oldham. Honestly, we drink. So my local pub, if you want a Madri, is £5.90 a pint. If you go up to my next village and you want a Peroni, it's £6.60 a pint in my next village. I'm in Lancashire. I'm in the north of England. Lancashire is ridiculous. Now, I can get an Uber from my house into a town called Polton le Fyle, go to Spoons there, and I can get a good pint for £3.50. It's just the village. It's just where I live. We get absolutely stung. Devon was mega yesterday. I did a delivery down there. I bet if the weather's like this. I was watching Michael Barrymore. I don't know if you follow Michael Barrymore on TikTok. He's absolutely amazing. It's my claim. He's actually a friend of mine. He's a friend of mine. He's not. I've never met him in my life, but he follows me on TikTok. I have no idea why, but Michael Barrymore follows me on TikTok, so we are classed as friends. And he's in Devon at the moment, and it looks stunning. And he takes his drone out, and it looks unreal, absolutely unreal. And I'm just like, what a time to go. And I think for us as well, for me to drive to Devon or Cornwall, 7 hours. It's not like it's 2 hours away, so you just nip there for a night or two. That's another thing. If we're going to go down there, you've got to commit for a good few days. We have been talking about going. We've been talking about it a bit, actually. €8 a pint in Dublin. There you go. Dublin's dearer than us. Dublin's ridiculously expensive. Again, it's one of them. My mate of mine, Connor, lives in just outside Dublin, and he's like, Dublin town centre's ridiculous. But if you go into the outskirts, like where he lives, he says it's a lot cheap. But he said they're not tourist traps. But he said Dublin itself. But he said Ireland itself has gone ridiculously expensive over the last couple of years. Like everything else, hasn't it, really? Since COVID, everything has just gone bonkers. Where are you getting £2 a pint? Where are you getting £2? What, in Benidorm? Oh, in Prague? Everywhere, just off the square. Just don't go up. If you go on the main tourist traps in Prague, it's I think the cheapest we've had. Don't get me wrong, this was when did I go to Prague? So it was 2023, to be honest with you. It was May or June 2023. But any side streets that you went down for a pint of Pilsner Urquell was £2. £2 was dear. I think the cheapest we found was £1.30. £1.30. Now 4 weeks tomorrow, I'll be in Uncle Ron's in Benidorm, and it's €1 for an Estrella. Estrella di Levante, €1 a pint, 83 pence. We're having that. We are definitely having that. Right, let me scale up. I'm going very, very soon. I'm having my flat iron steak. I was meant to have it for tea last night. Rachel came home, and she went, I've got 4 parcels that need to go out today because she's been selling some books on LinkedIn. And I was like, right. Where are you selling them? She went, where you send them in post? I said, flipping it, right? So I'm just going to go into Kirkham. She was like, but they need to go. I was like, right, all right. Anyway, we ended up going into Kirkham, and we ended up getting a bit of a KFC for tea, just a bit of convenience. Fairly calorie control for a KFC. It was 850 calories, so not terrible. But the flat iron steak I bought from Aldi yesterday, I'm going to jump off this line very, very shortly. I'm going to fire the barbecue up, and that is going on the barbecue. And I don't know how to have it yet. I don't know where. I'm going to do some peppers, onions, and mushrooms in the air fryer. So I'm going to have steak, peppers, onions, and mushrooms. But I don't know whether to have it in a wrap. I don't know whether to have it with some rice. I don't know whether to have it with some with some noodles. Oh, I do fancy some noodles. I don't know yet. I don't know. I haven't quite decided yet. John, we spoke about £2 pint. Now planning a Prague trip. Yeah, Prague, brilliant. Prague, really good. £2 and brilliant. Very cheap flights over there. Very, very like anything. We had a few beers around the square where the main tourist bits are, the square, and you were paying £4 a pint. But still, £4 a pint in a tourist trap isn't ridiculous. But you just go off the little side streets and or have a little walk out into a couple of suburbs, and you're paying like £1.20, £1.30, and the beer is sensational. It's worth every single penny. My husband getting me to do Scotch eggs again today. Glad you enjoyed them, Kelly. They are a really good recipe. They're so simple to. I know they take a little bit of time because you've got to boil your eggs. And then wrap around, but they don't really take that long. And compared to like just buying, like a processed reformed Scotch egg, which I don't mind from the supermarket, they are so good. They are really, really good. In fact, I want one myself now. Right, let me scan down, and then I'm going very, very shortly. Yeah. That's it. I think that's it. Yeah, I think I'm going to shoot off, guys. I think I'm done. Thanks for laughing cow instead of margarine hat. Love it on all my. It is so good. It's something I've done for years, just using light. Don't get me wrong. I still have a bit of butter on my sandwiches. I don't mind, but every now and then, if you're just trying to be a bit more calorie conscious, or it just tastes good, especially with something I absolutely get a good granary bread, right? A really good like Hovis granary. for me is a decent granary bread. Use Laughing Cow, bit of ham, lettuce, onions. It's delicious. It really, really is delicious, and it gives you a bit more protein, a few less calories. And yeah, it's just another option. It's just a simple swap every now and then. It doesn't mean you have to do that all the time, but it's just, it just gives you a little bit of an option. Anyway, don't leave, James. About me, you've got a pub to go to. You said you were going to the pub tonight. Anyway, well, tonight. I don't know if you're going now. I don't know if you're at work or what, mate. But yeah, I'm going to go fire the barbie up, get my steak on, get ready for. I'm flipping hungry. I can't lie. I am flipping hungry. I'm ready. I'm ready for something. I've had a big yogurt bowl this morning as well, but felt this yesterday. I felt my appetite going a little bit. It's going to go today a little bit as well. Just happens sometimes. It just happens sometimes. So yeah, but my steak, it'll take a good, I reckon, 20 minutes on the barbecue, this flat iron. I'm going to cook it I'm going to sear it and then move it over to a colder part and let it cook through. So all the fat it's got a lot of marbling in it, so all the fat sort of melts down. Can't wait. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Right, I might be back later on. I know I have scheduled in a live later on. I'm going to stop scheduling it in. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to aim most Fridays to do like a last live of the weekend or a little sign-off live and this, that, and the other. But Friday's checking day. Things can get very, very busy. So I don't like scheduling lives in and then not doing them. Like if it's on the newsletter, I want to do them. So I am going to try, be about 5 o'clock-ish if I do get on. If I don't get on, I'm going to try and get on today because it is bank holiday. So I'm not here Monday. Right? Monday, bank holiday off. So we're back Tuesday. So Monday, bank holiday. So yeah, no live on Monday. No lives on Monday. I'm taking the day off. I'm going to work Sunday. I'm not working tomorrow. If you're going to check in tomorrow, I have said this in a message, but I'm not working tomorrow. So if you do check in tomorrow, I won't be looking at my WhatsApp, but I'm going to work on Sunday, and I'm going to finish Sunday dinner time and have Sunday afternoon off and Monday off with Rach, and then we'll be back on Tuesday. And that's it. That's it for bank holidays till the end of August. 3 months until the next bank holiday. So make the most of it. You won't see me Tuesday. I'm in Amsterdam. Have a great time in Amsterdam, Stefan. Enjoy whatever you're doing for a few days. Guys, if I don't see you later on, I'm definitely going to work my damnedest to get back on at like 5 o'clock just for half an hour to come and say hello later on. But if I don't see you later on, when am I back? I am back on, Tuesday. It'll be Tuesday. So it's bank holiday weekend. Have a wonderful weekend, whatever you might be doing. And hopefully I'll see you later on. But if I don't, have a great bank holiday weekend. Yeah, I'll see you Tuesday. Right, TikTok, I'm signing off to you first. Hopefully see you later. But if not, I will see you Tuesday. And same to you guys, Facebook, YouTube. Yeah, if I don't see you, have a great weekend. Enjoy the bank holiday. Hopefully the sun might shine a smidge. I know it's meant to be a bit rainy, but it might shine a smidge. Anyway, I'll see you